Yards on the ground in the second half, only one sack.
Yeah, it was, the second half and some things that we executed better. I think there's a lot that gets put into, some coaches make these adjustments and so forth and all that. And sometimes it's the flow of the game. It's guys settling down, the timing of things, the feel of things, and that kind of flow of the game and what took place where there wasn't really any point in the first half where I think from any positive standpoint where our guys were truly rattled. We just didn't allow ourselves to execute with, a large part to what they did and giving them credit. They did a tremendous job. They're a tremendous defense, and we didn't execute like we needed to. And when we got behind the chains, that's where obviously it's always a bad situation in which the noise came into play, and them pinning their ears back and coming off on a pass rush made a big difference. So we couldn't get behind the chains like we did to put ourselves in that position. But second half, I can't say enough in terms of guys keeping their poise and doing their thing and just keep coming out and keep fighting. And I think we grew up a lot.
Don Kyler said after the game that he thought Jay Sean and Coleman, for their first start on the road, kind of stayed steady, even though there was a lot of things fine. How did you think they handled everything? What did you see in their demeanor throughout the game?
I agree 100%. Again, I wasn't quite sure what to think with Coleman's first start, if he would have that look at all. But for the practice Friday leaving here, the hotel meetings and walkthroughs and demeanor and all that, I saw a guy that was excited, and he played that way. Technically there was things that tend to go out the window whenever you play a ball game, in which you kind of forget your training of what you're trying to accomplish and do from a fundamental and a technique standpoint. But all in all, for those two guys being freshmen, you wouldn't know it by the way they carried themselves.
Just how they responded this week in practice, what you've been able to see.
I'm always a big believer in Coach Jones and his philosophy of correcting and teaching and making sure that we get the mistakes corrected and again teaching. It's easy to just go in and yell and scream, but you don't get a lot accomplished. You got to make them, make sure they understand what went wrong, the mistakes that took place, and obviously never allowing for a lack of effort and strain and want to, which that part again was good by our kids. Their approach today to practice was like it's been. They're as a whole relatively young, and they really don't know a whole lot better in terms of I say it and how to approach it, but it's just the demanding of Coach Jones of what we want positionally and offensively and what we want to do to get better. So the approach was good.
How has this line performed overall this season based on what maybe you were expecting going into the season with 5 new starters?
No, it's not. It's not to the standard of what's expected here. Regardless of what it is in terms of how many guys are new and classification and all those things. I'll never allow that to be a crutch for them, for myself, and I couldn't agree with Coach more. There's a standard, there's an expectation to be here of the style of play and who we are, and we're not to where we need to be yet. However, I am encouraged again by the effort and the mentality and the approach that they're taking to want to get better. So that's the encouraging part. That's not something that I come in and say, hey, we're so far behind in this regards. There's a lot of positive with the makeup of the group and what they want to accomplish. So from that standpoint, as a coach, I'm proud and pleased to coach them, and I love their workmanlike attitude and I love their approach. So we're just going to keep working and keep grinding away, and it's got to come sooner than later. And we're going to get there. I know we will, because I believe in the guys in the room and I believe in their approach.
Coach Butch seemed pretty emphatic. I'm sorry, Mike. After that game, that these are our 5 guys. Is he just? Was it that obvious in the second half that you guys just saw something that in that performance where they bounced back?
Yeah. Again, it's just the work that's gone in the last couple of weeks of practice, where there's been some separation by some guys and guys that are proving themselves on a daily basis in their approach and their practice habits and their 1-2. So some guys have got to step it up that aren't quite there yet, and that was probably the approach today that needed to improve the most for us, is guys that are one snap away, and they've got to improve their role, so improve their overall play. But the five right now are the five that are going to continue to keep working together.
Did you ever have a moment where you, before the game, thinking about it, or actually sitting there looking out on the field, where you got a true freshman and next to him's another true freshman, and I guess at times Helm, another true freshman's on that side at Oklahoma with that defense? What was
it got even better with Jalen Hurd in the backfield and Josh Malone at wide receiver, so the future's bright. But no, it is one in which, you know what, there's frustration in the fact that we didn't accomplish what we set out to do, but there's a lot of reason to be excited with looking at it from that standpoint, saying, hey, you know what, we got a bright future, and we just got to keep developing these guys. And again, I can't say enough about their attitude and their approach, and that's what makes coaching. You enjoy what you're doing, and you come in and see those guys and their want to, and where they want this place to go, and where it should be, and that's what drives us and keeps us going. So we're going to get there.
How was Coleman after the game and on the trip home? I'm sure you talked to him.
Well, yeah, it was good because, again, the common thing for freshmen or young guys is that they make a mistake, they make it, and they do not realize that they made the mistake. He was replaying some things in his mind and was, spitting back to me, hey, on this I needed to do this. So he was playing the game in his mind, and again, for being on a stage like that and being a freshman, that's ahead of the curve. So I was pleased from that standpoint, and I think he's a guy that just winning is important to him. So he was more upset about that and about his play than he was his first start and all those type of things.
How's it been for Kyler to play, three positions now, really?
Hey, you know what? I got to hand it to him. He's a guy that if we ask him to drive the bus, he'll do that as well. It doesn't really matter from his standpoint. He's like, Coach, I'll figure it out and I'll do it. So I've been proud of his efforts and, his commitment to whatever we need to do, we'll do. And he's waited his turn long enough, and credit to him. He's again, whatever I need to do, I'll do. And he's attacking it. And now he has a chance with this open date and with another week getting used to settling into that position of kick sliding out and those type of things. So I've been proud of the way he's attacked it.
Justin obviously took a lot of hits in the game, but he didn't throw your unit under the bus at all. What did that mean to you and your guys, just for him to kind of stick up for him?
That's Justin, and that's the way this team is. Because there's things that go on in which we behind closed doors talk as an offense and defense and special teams and team and so forth. And our offensive line made it known to the group that it wasn't acceptable for what we had a part in, and that type of thing. So we're a team, and this is something that we recognize. There's no finger pointing at all. We know starts with us. And Justin's just a tremendous leader. He's grown up so much from last year to this year. I put him in the ranks of guys that I've had a chance to be around that are really, really solid quarterbacks and solid leaders, and he's really become that. And his game day leadership with people not realizing it, and really his overall being sincere about his leadership and his competitiveness. After the game, I went up and I gave him a hug and told him how proud I was that he fought and hung in there. And I said, we'll get this thing right, I promise you. And he knows and says, I know you will. So I can't say enough about Justin, and we've got to clean that up and can't allow that to happen.
How much did the two freshmen on the right side grow up during this game?
Oh, gosh.